Well, what is good, Maine Mariners Nation? Happy Monday night to you all out there. This is the Maine Hockey Report, brought to you, as always, by the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Hope you all are enjoying this Monday night. Get some sleep. You got an early puck drop tomorrow from the Cross Insurance Arena as the Maine Mariners will be hosting the Adirondack Thunder. 10:30 in the morning there tomorrow. The school day game should be a lot of fun. Is sold out. So if you don't have your tickets, sorry, can't help you there. But you can go onto the Mixler app or the Flow Hockey TV and come check out me and Mike as we will be on the call from the arena tomorrow morning. Should be a heck of a good time, guys. Hey, Maine Mariners are in second place, tied right now with those same Adirondack Thunder. What a couple of games for the Maine Mariners, guys. Let's dive right into it right now before we get to anything else. Let's go back to Friday night against the Trois-Rivières Lions up there in Quebec. The Mariners winning this one 5-3. Shots on goal, 37 for Trois, 26 for the Mariners. That was 14-7 for Trois in the first. Just the reverse in the second, 14-7 for Maine in the second, 16-5 for Trois in the third as they really try to get back into this one. To no avail. 0 for 2 for both clubs on the power play. Main goal scores in this one, Zach Jordan there in the first period. That was his 12th of the year from Dilstra and Gallatin. Cheveldayoff with his second of his season from Cronin and Bellamy also in the first period. Xander Lampa with number 12 there in the second period from Gallatin and Cheveldayoff. Lampa adding a second one there, number 13 from Hemstrom and Cheveldayoff once again. And then Hemstrom with his 10th of the year in the third period from Cronin. There are your 5 goals. Brad Arvanitis just, keeps on keeping on. 34 saves on 37 shots. Hunter Jones got ran in this one, it looks like. Only 19 saves on 24 shots for him. Gaudreau coming in, playing the backup role, only getting a couple shots. And 13-41 there for Gaudreau. But obviously, Trois' season has kind of gone in the tank. They've lost a few guys to Europe. It's just, after winning the Kelly Cup, they haven't been able to sustain, and Maine taking advantage up there. Big win for the Mariners. They get a rare Saturday off, which is great. So they make what was, I guess, kind of a frustrating drive back. So a little bit of weather for the team when they came back. So longer than expected travel, but they get the day off. And then they come into yesterday afternoon against those Adirondack Thunder, as we know, an opportunity to take sole possession of second place with a regulation win. So a lot on the line. If you were at the arena, definitely had that playoff-like atmosphere, that playoff vibe as we started the game. I would say before we get into the box score, probably not as over-the-top physical. There was some chippiness. There was some good physical play, but everybody kind of behaved themselves a little bit. So I am curious if they behave themselves tomorrow. There'll be a lot of kids in the stands, so hopefully they do. But let's get back to yesterday, guys. Of course, Maine, as you know, winning this one in epic fashion, 4-3 in overtime, guys. Shots on goal in this one. Listen, Adirondack had to jump early, but it ends up being 26 apiece for both clubs. Adirondack 10-5 in the first, Adirondack 7-6 in the seventh, 13-7 in the third, and 2 apiece there in overtime. Adirondack was 0 for 2 on the power play. Maine 1 for 4. Scoring here, of course, Carabas for Adirondack got on the board in that first period, late in that first period, kind of just a doozy of a goal, one that just you go into the club in the locker room like, feeling a little frustrated there with just 20 seconds left in the period. Couldn't close it out. But Maine battles back. Cronin in the second at the 4:45 mark with his 13th of the year from Perreault and Jordan. We're going to talk about Perreault a little bit more in a moment. Perreault there with the second goal of the game. That was at the 4:19 mark in the third. That was his 12th of the season from Jordan. Of course, we know Loven ties it up, then went with number 3 there for Adirondack to take the lead. And that was at the 11:59 or 11:53 mark, I should say. And at that point, you feel like, oh, man, we might be coughing this one up. But at the 19:17 mark, just an absolute snipe from the Swede, from Sebastian Vidmar. his sixth of the year from Andreev and Venuto. Just a thing of beauty to be that late. You had the goalie pulled, so you had the 6-on-5 going. You had just had a power play where you couldn't get anything really generating too much there. Adirondack really did a great job of shutting off lanes and not allowing Maine to get a lot of interior ice really throughout this game, but Maine late tying it up, and then you go into overtime, and one of the more unlikely heroes is Owen Gallatin with his second of the season, a one-timer from the right side from Cronin and Hudson, of course, on the power play there in overtime to win it. What a performance. I'd say the word is gutsy. Gutsy win there for the Mariners. They finally saw Brodeur just a little bit. They get 4 behind him. Hard to do. He had 22 saves on 26 shots. Brad Arvanitis, once again, just a great performance. 23 saves on 26 shots. Just had a little pep in my step leaving the arena after that one. Yes, you do give them a point, but you get the 2. You pull into the tie with the Adirondack there. Just not your best game. Not your best game at all. But you found a way to win. And that's, I think, what we have seen with this Maine Mariners team over now a 10-game winning streak. You're winning in so many different ways. As I said in the previous podcast, you're winning stylistically different each night. You haven't found a situation that you can't handle over the past 3-4 weeks. And that's a really good sign as we gear up for a playoff run, hopefully a long playoff run, because, man, you're going to face every one of these situations as you go throughout a playoff, season, and they're answering the bell. They're just answering the bell at every single turn, and I'm here for all of it. You did have a young defenseman Ewart making his rookie appearance, his first pro game. Just trying to find him here on the sheet. He was number 7. Did have the one shot. I just felt like he played a very steady game for a young guy for his first game. Quite a game to get thrown into as your first pro game, kind of a playoff-like atmosphere there. I thought he did some good things out there. I didn't see any glaring mistakes. I thought he did his job. He's kind of like that offensive lineman where you didn't really notice him out there, but that's a good thing. He's clearing pucks out well, making smart decisions, safe decisions. I think kind of what the coaching staff kind of wanted him to do in this game, and I think he did just fine. So, good pedigree, coming out of college, and we'll see how long he sticks around. But love it. So that brings us to the North standings after yesterday's games. Of course, Wheeling still in first place, 34-15-6 with 74 points. Your Maine Mariners now tied for second, 31-15-7 with 69 points. Adirondack also 69 points, 31-15-7 themselves. And then Reading sitting in fourth place, 28-19-7 with 63 points. It's Worcester sitting fifth, 25-22-7 with 57 points. And then Troyes, probably the last team that really has an outside shot, 26-24-4 with 56 points. So Worcester is 6 points behind Reading. Troyes 7 points behind Reading. Norfolk's at 47 points. Greensboro 38 points. They're way out of it. Not officially eliminated mathematically yet, but not far. Not too long, as Mike said yesterday on the call. By the time we play Greensboro, they might be mathematically out of this thing. Tough year for them. But Maine is sitting in a very, very good spot. I don't know if we can catch Wheeling or not. You're still 5 points behind them. I don't believe we play them again this year. You got Adirondack, I believe. Is it 2 or 3 more times before the end of the year? I think you have Reading one more time. You have Norfolk is coming up. You got some more with Worcester as well. So, we're getting down to it. I think 19 games to go. So what is that? 38 points on the table. You're sitting in a really, really good spot. Of course, 10 wins in a row. Your goals for 167 versus 133 against. So very, very healthy number there for the Maine Mariners. Let's go over to team leaders just to give a quick peek at this. If my eyes don't deceive me here, guys, let me just run through this. You have got Brooklyn Kalmakoff, and we're going to talk about Brooklyn in just a moment. 15 goals, 33 assists for 48 points. Robert Cronin having himself a year, 13 goals, 29 assists for 42 points. Andreev, 11 goals, 30 assists for 41 points. Just just been one of those kind of quiet assassins out there. Just he's got such deception to his game. I love what he does out there. And Hudson, again, having a year for himself, 19 goals, 21 assists for 40 points. And then Jacob Perreault, 12 goals, 17 assists for 29 points. So going back to the game, of course, let's talk a little Jacob Perreault. Of course, has just an amazing goal on that breakaway. Thing of beauty. I thought Brodeur had it. I just did. It looked like he saved it, but went 5-hole, just snuck through the pads. I think Brodeur was trying to put his glove over it and trying to put his glove down. I was like, oh, the puck isn't here. What a thing of beauty. And then what an epic just giveaway in the D zone to give up that goal. I think it was the second goal there. Let me go back to it here. Yeah, I think it was a Loven from Olsen goal in the third to make it a 2-2 game. Just a mental mistake. You could see Jacob beating himself up over it. And then, unfortunately, he takes kind of a tough hit and has a hard time getting off the ice, does not finish the game. We're going to talk about some player movement in a moment. Luckily, spoiler alert, he's not as bad off as it looked yesterday. But just had himself a very weird, very up and down game. And frustrating he couldn't finish that one. And I know he was very frustrated by that turnover, something that, sometimes with these big time goal scorers and these really talented guys, sometimes this happens, and frustrating for sure. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved. And before we look at all the player movement, just again, Brad Arvanitis coming off the Goaltender of the Month award that he got from the ECHL. Just another brilliant performance yesterday. I just thought he was seeing the puck so well all day. Yes, he does get 3 behind him. That on that turnover by Perreault, he stops the first one and it just bounces right back. He's just in no man's land. Nothing he can do about it. Second shot goes through him. But he just continues to play lights out, man. He has been such a godsend to this club this year. And again, we shouldn't be surprised. We've seen this in the past with him. He's had to battle through a lot of other affiliate goaltenders being here over the years. He continues, though, to answer the bell, take on the workload when he's called for it, and that's just absolutely phenomenal. Before we talk about tomorrow's game, some other news from the ECHL, as it was announced today, the Iowa Heartlanders, that's the Minnesota Wild's ECHL affiliate, has announced they are suspending play for the 2026-2027 season. Tough news, but not really a surprise if you've been paying attention. This has been a franchise that has really struggled at the gate, has not been able to draw much of an audience. It's been kind of a long, slow death. I don't know what the plan is there. I really don't know a whole lot about the ownership group. I haven't quite honestly done a ton of research on this, but it was very well known that they were struggling. So this doesn't come as a surprise, but it's just kind of tough because the league was just now getting to 32 teams, and now you're going to have this team step back, at least for next year. I don't know if it's a matter of new ownership comes in and tries to save it there in Iowa, or maybe more likely they try to find a new location. And I hate to say that because I know there's probably some diehard fans out there in Iowa because the Iowa Wild are there too, the American League team. for the while they're in that state as well. So it's tough. You hope they don't have to move, but you do wonder just for the health of the organization and the health of the league if they don't find another home. We'll see what happens. There'll be more to come with this, but it's tough, and it's just that's more jobs. For the players union, for the players themselves. That's just less ECHL spots available going into next year. That's kind of tough too. You wonder how Minnesota handles this if they find, another affiliate team that they can work with. Sometimes these teams will partner up and kind of borrow players or send players to other clubs to get work, things like that. But we'll see how all that goes and how all that shakes out. But yeah, more to come there in Iowa, but tough news. Again, not surprising news at the same time. So, of course, we do have I would call it a matinee game. I don't even know if we call it a matinee game tomorrow. 10:30 a.m. puck drop from the Cross Insurance Arena tomorrow. The Maine Mariners and the Adirondack Thunder. It's our annual school day game where all the school kids from around the surrounding school systems come on in. Should be a heck of a good time. Should be a fun atmosphere. As I said, Mike and I will be back in the barn for a 10:15 pregame, both on Flow Hockey TV and the Mixler app for radio. And listen, this is a team we know very, very well, right? And I don't think that really the keys change much from day to day. I put my keys to the game out yesterday. They really don't change much, from game to game. I do think that scoring first does mean something. Listen, Maine has done a great job of battling back. They haven't scored first. I think it's been 3 games in a row that they've been able to pull out wins. But you're kind of playing with fire. And you've got an Adirondack team right now that, you wonder how pissed off they are, after that one yesterday. So I do think, try to get some momentum for yourself. At least play a better offensive first period. You only had 5 shots on goal in the first period yesterday. You played a good defensive game in that first period, but didn't really control much of the puck. Even if you don't score, can you just have more ozone time? Can you set up more momentum offensively in that first period for yourself? I think that would be a key. Looking at the records for both clubs when they lead after 2, guys, this is pretty incredible. They don't give up leads a lot. Maine is 24-0-1-1 when leading after 2. Adirondack 22-0-0-1 when leading after 2. So if either one of these teams is up after 2, it might be good night, So both do a good job of maintaining and holding leads. So for your Mariners, if they can get a lead after 2, you should be, again, these are just numbers, right? Numbers can change, but you should feel pretty good. And my third key really is play disciplined, physical hockey. Don't allow this team to drag you back into their fight, which is what they like to do. Something I talked about yesterday and something you didn't really see. Amesbury, it wasn't really that very noticeable out there. Yes, he had one hit that was kind of questionable, but he's kind of borderline on that suspension, mindset right now. A couple more of misconducts, he might be out for a bit. So I think he's trying to maybe play a little bit more disciplined hockey. But Adirondacks lost 4 in a row. They felt like they had that game kind of taken from them yesterday. This is not a team that likes losing 4 games. I mean, no team likes losing 4 in a row, but for as good as they've been, you imagine they're going to come out with a little spit and vinegar. They're going to try to get to their kind of annoying style of physical kind of play, which works for them. And it's not a criticism by any stretch. It's like I mentioned on the broadcast yesterday, they have that little bit of that Florida Panthers mentality into them. And that's a compliment. It's just how they play, and it works. It works for them. I think for the Maine Mariners, though, you have figured out you figured out the math a little bit here. You figured out how to play this team. You've beaten them now the last couple times. You haven't really been dragged into their fight. But I think tomorrow morning, very, very important not to, drag yourself or get dragged into that fight. Play physical, be disciplined, don't get into the box a lot, and just, play within your style. Should be a good time. Of course, we do have tons of movement today. So some good news, some not so good news, but could have been worse news, I guess. So we're going to start with Jacob Perreault. Of course, doesn't finish the game, has a hard time getting off the ice, gets back to the bench. He's taken down the tunnel. You don't see him again. Has been put on a 3-day IR at this point. So more like a day-to-day injury. So kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Like, thank goodness he's not more hurt. Certainly not playing tomorrow, but it's not a season ender. Again, lower body injury. That's about all I know on that one right there. The good news, though, is Brooklyn Kalmakoff and goalie Luke Haviland back up to Maine from Providence. So both returning from their AHL stints. Big time for tomorrow. I'll be curious to see who you see in net. If it's Haviland, RB did have the day off. I kind of am thinking it might be Luke for tomorrow's game. And I did not look to see the last time he played. I think it's been a couple of days since he played in Providence. I don't think he played in the last Providence game. I think it was 2 games ago up there in the AHL. So he might be a little more rested and ready to go. And for Brooklyn, especially with Perreault stepping out now on the IR, you can put Brooklyn right back into that spot and still feel like you have a similar scoring punch that you need. Of course, Billy Girard with this move, with Cavalier coming back, Girard has been released. Did yeoman's work when he played. I think gave the team a really good effort, gave them a chance to win. So, kind of tip of the cap to Billy. Maybe we see him again before the year's out, but I thought he did a fine job. And Loki Johansson, defenseman, that has been moved now to the 14-day IR. So a little bit of an extended time off for him, which is too bad. Good player, been a good solid defenseman, and of course defense right now is where we're a little bit thin, so a little bit tough there. So that's your movement for now. So yeah, tomorrow, guys, should be a heck of a good time. Should be a fun game, and a chance for 2 points. Even if you win in overtime, you have a chance to have the outright second place spot, and you have a chance to gain a little bit on Wheeling. We'll see what happens. And it's not a, it's not a win or die kind of situation here, right? It's still a regular year. If you lose, you're still in third place, and you're in very, very healthy position in third place, even if you do lose. But this is when you want to win. You got all those kids in the crowd tomorrow. You got a lot of momentum. They're not going to win. What is it? 10 plus. They're not going to win 29 games in a row to end the season. Okay, we know that. And I don't want to jinx them. Not knock on wood here. We want to win tomorrow, but they're eventually going to lose a couple more right before the year's out. You hope it's not tomorrow, but I do think it's a great opportunity to close out this 2-game stretch and to take 3 out of 4 points, or would be 4 out of, I guess you get 4 points to their 1 if you can win in regulation tomorrow. So you can gain 3 on Adirondack and be in outright second place. And I think they got in the room to do it. I really do. So should be a good time. All right, moving quickly to the NHL, the Boston Bruins losing in overtime to Pittsburgh. Of course, I think Mike referenced it on the broadcast. I was trying to get home to watch some of that game. I thought I had the Bruins game recording. I get home, I realized it was not recording. So I went back and I just saw the box score, saw that the Bruins lost in overtime to Pittsburgh, kind of blowing a lead there. So I was actually quite happy that it wasn't recorded. It just saved me a lot of anger and anguish. But right now, the Boston Bruins, 63 games in, 35, 22-6, 76 points in 5th place in the Atlantic, still sitting in that wild card 2 position. I believe they are, 2 points up on Columbus and 5 points up on Ottawa. So kind of a precarious position for them. They didn't make a lot of moves at the deadline, hanging on to that spot. I think that they still have an opportunity to hang on to that spot and get into the playoffs. They're only 2 points behind Montreal, and they're only 3 points really out of third place. And lo and behold, who's in first place in the Atlantic? It is the Buffalo Sabres, 84 points. They beat Tampa in a goalie's optional game last, I believe it was 8-7 in that one. But they're 39, 19-6. Whoever had that on your bingo card this year, did go out and buy a lottery ticket, man, because nobody had that on your bingo card. I'm so happy for Buffalo. I just really am. This could be a 1 year kind of hit wonder for them. I don't know. But man, I hope they enjoy the ride. And it was just kind of nice seeing Tampa get the snot kicked out of them a little bit yesterday in that one. I just think it's so wide open in the East. I really do. I think the West is a little a little more concentrated. I do think you got 3 or 4 really top end teams. I do think the champion does come out of that Central Division. I do think it's Colorado, and I don't think it's close, really. But I think the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be a heck of a good time, guys. You get some of these matchups that could be, heck, you could end up with Boston and Buffalo in a first round with Boston as a wild card and Buffalo as a 1 seed. Should be fun to watch. But going back to the Bruins, it's games like yesterday that make me realize, and should make all of us realize, why they're not a Stanley Cup contending team this year. They're a playoff team, perhaps, but they just blow too many games like that. They've done that too often this year. Go back to the Tampa game, the outside game, that 5-1. They blow it. They're up, I think, they up 3-1 or 3-0 at one point in the game yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And they let a Pittsburgh team without Malkin and Crosby back into the game, and just foolishness. Overall, for as good as they've played, you have too many games like that where they've given up points. I'm not trying to be overly critical because they've exceeded my expectations, I would say, by a couple of miles this year. I'm very happy that they're in a wild card 2 spot. I'm very happy that even in a game like that they get a point, but just too often they're kind of pissing points away, and it's stuff like that doesn't help you advance in the playoffs. Good foundational year for the club. I hope they can get to the playoffs. I hope they can win a first round series. That would be pretty amazing. We will see what happens. We will see what happens with them. Of course, they are back on the ice tomorrow at the TD Garden. That's against the LA Kings, another team that's in kind of a weird situation. Of course, firing their coach. Of course, Panarin is there now. They're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. We'll see what happens there. You hope for a good response game for the Boston Bruins. Around the NHL tonight, you do have, looks like 5 games. The Rangers up on the Flyers right now, 6-1. There's 9:25 to go in that one. The Capitals, 5-3 over the Flames, 5:44 to go in the third. The Mammoth, after 1 period, up 2-1 on Chicago. Nothing from Vancouver. That's Ottawa and Vancouver just getting the puck drop there. And the Kings do get an overtime win against Columbus earlier today. That was a makeup game. I think that was a 4:30 start. But it's 5-4 in overtime. So the Blue Jackets do pick up a point, and the Kings do get 2. So they're coming into Boston feeling pretty good about themselves with the 2 points there. Well, guys, that is what we have for you tonight. Thank you so much for checking this out. I do appreciate all the love here on this channel. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please go ahead and do that. The like buttons are also really great too. Again, if you're not at the arena tomorrow, come check us out on Flow Hockey TV or the Mixler app. Come join the chat. Be fun to hear from everybody. Hopefully we can get a good big 2 points. So get some sleep. It's an early start tomorrow. And until next time, everybody, be kind, show love, and God bless.
Too many times, bust down a new Jacobs, too many diamonds. Like, what you gonna do, baby? You too damn fine. Let's run it up. They don't wanna see us in the playoffs. 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 I could see y'all play out. Y'all boys gonna lose it, ain't no doubt. Can't use my name for no more clout. If y'all wanna win, just follow my route. Shorty rolling, shorty tryna get it rolling. Young and grinding, you gon' get it. Put them peas up in the stoley. You gon' drive 1,000 miles till his pockets keep on growing. I be skating on the ice on my neck like a goalie. When she with you, yeah, shorty, she pursuing me. Would hate if I was you, yeah.